Hey everyone, this is Kevin from thechesswebsite.com. Today we're going to be going over the second part in the series of the King's Gambit opening. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. White opens up, pawn to e4, black responds, pawn to e5, and white offers up a pawn sacrifice, pawn to f4, and black accepts. And as we talked about last time, we're going to be focusing on the knight to f3 variation. In the last video we touched on if pawn tries to come down to g5, and today we're actually going to be looking at some other variations. One of the most common openings you'll see for black in this case is a move that Fisher used. He actually wrote a little book on it called A Bust to the King's Gambit, and that is just a simple move, pawn to d6. And one of the big things this does is you see it cuts off this g4 square that eventually white would want to get his queen to. So no worries, we are going to just avoid this. We're not going to attack immediately. Instead, we're just going to go ahead and build up our development here. So first thing we're just going to do is develop knight to c3, normal development move in the King's Gambit. You may see something from black developing as well. Knight to f6, white's going to continue, pawn to d4. You may see black come here. Obviously he'll eventually want to castle. He may bring his bishop to e7. We're going to bring our bishop, get him into the action, to bishop to c4. A lot of times black will go ahead and castle, and white's going to go ahead and castle. And this is the position that I really want to touch on right now, because this position for white is one that you're going to see over and over and over. It doesn't really matter what black plays a lot of times. Eventually, in a lot of games you play in the King's Gambit, you're going to come to this position, and I want to touch on a few things. One, we have great center control. We have our two pawns here on d4 and e4, and we have control over all of the center squares. We have our bishop nicely positioned here attacking the f7 square. We have both of our knights developed. We have already castled, and the good thing that we talked about in the first video, which still applies here, is although black is up a piece in material, this pawn right here, we can pretty much take this at any time we like with our bishop. And we also have this F file open for our rook, and the one good thing about rooks, as many of you may know, is you want them to be on open files. If they're on the back and they're not doing much, it's really not going to help your chess game a lot. You want to get them on open files, and you want to connect them. So next couple moves, I can take this pawn, I can move my queen up, connect these rooks, and my gameplay is going to be very good from here. There's a lot of different things you can do with this, but keep in mind, even from this position, you are down a pawn, but you have much better development, you have great center control, and from here you should have a pretty good game. Now obviously there are a few other things that black can do, and we'll go ahead and touch on those. A lot of times they won't know Fisher's move, and so they may just do a development move, maybe a knight to f6 as their second move. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to develop. Obviously they're attacking our pawns, so we're going to go ahead and defend. If they decide to develop their other piece as well, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Advance our pawn to d4, and depending on which move they do, they may bring their bishop down attacking. That is completely fine. We can, if we want, go ahead and take this pawn back. We can come out here, put our bishop on c4, really whatever we like. We can also come up here and start moving and attacking their knights to get them out of the way. Eventually, as you'll see, you may easily get back to the position that we just talked about. So we are going to go back and look at one more. Another thing you'll see them develop from the other side, and in this case we're actually not going to move the pawn first, the knight first, because we don't need to defend this. we're first going to just move the pawn up, and that is obviously putting more focus on the center, and so depending on what he does next, if he brings his knight out, we can always develop our knight next. But this is a great move because if now he decides to play something like pawn to d6, we have a little more options. We can continue development with our knight. We can try to push his knight out of the way. We can bring the bishop out. We can go ahead and capture the pawn here. So experiment a little bit. There's obviously a lot of options with these, but hope this has given you a little more insight as to the variations of the King's Gambit and how to play them. So I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe to the videos. Keep checking back. I should be having a lot more videos up in the near future. And be sure to check out the website. It is www.thechesswebsite.com, and that's going to be launching very soon, and I'm going to have a lot of great material. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys later.